Welcome back to the Source Garage. So today I'm in the middle of starting the full paint correction and ceramic coating process on the C7. And so I got it up on the lift, and I'm going to be finishing up the cosmetic mods on the exterior, on the rear of the car. And what I have before me here are some painted diffuser fins. So I'm 99% sure these are the exact same ones that come from ACS Composite. They're diffuser fins, except these were bought from CorvetteMods.com. They sell a painted variant of them, so I got Arctic White to match the car. Going to be putting blackout markers on the rear, replacing the red ones, and putting on rear fascia extensions. And I'm doing the fascia extensions with the diffuser fins at the same time, because you take out some bolts on the back to help you get underneath the rear of the car that install the fascia extension. So I'm going to do it all at once here. And the only tools you really need for this are a trim removal tool to help with putting the lights in. The rivets that come with the fascia, I've seen kits that have rivets or just tape. Somehow my kit came with both. So I'm just going to use the tape in case the person who buys the car after me doesn't want the fascia extensions. They don't have rivets to deal with in the back, and the tape will hold up just fine because there's still going to be bolts that hold it in place. And you need a couple drill bits. I think they say start with something smaller than 1/4 inch to drill the holes in this template, and then go up to 1/4 inch size for the 3 holes that go in the diffuser fins themselves. Now, just FYI, if you're seeing this and have a Corvette and think you want to get these diffuser fins from CorvetteMods.com, you need a template to know where to drill all the holes on the rear of the car. And when they sent me these fins, they didn't actually come with any template. And I emailed them about it, and they said, well, it doesn't come with a template. So I'm like, do you happen to have anything that would help show me where to mount this? Because I'm not going to try and eyeball it or guess. I was going to either return or resell them to someone, because I'm not going to try and figure it out. And I emailed ACS, and they said, well, Corvette Mods isn't a reseller of our parts, so we won't send you a template either. Thankfully, Corvette Mods said they found this somewhere in their warehouse or whatever and sent me some. So you need these templates, and they'll see me use them here to figure out where to drill the holes on the rear of the car so you can mount these properly. Otherwise, you're just going to be eyeballing it, and that would be the worst thing ever, to have one not line up properly. So anyway, just so you know, if you see these and like them, I'm going to walk through this whole process now, just step by step, show you the before and after. And I got the car up on the lift already and raised up so I can get started. So I'm going to start here with the blackout markers. Now, I would also recommend that you could put tape on these edges here if you wanted to use them for prying. I'm going to do a full paint correction and compound after this, so I'm not too worried about scuffing it. And I've seen this be pretty challenging for some people, so we'll see how long it takes me to get it out. Alright, so I've got this edge up. Oh, there we go. And popped out. And you're just seeing water out because I washed the car this morning, but there we go. 3 tabs out. And I'm gonna grab a towel real quick. So now the the tail lights here labeled right hand and left hand on here. So this is the right hand one. So it should just pop right in. Like so, and nice and easy. All right, there we go. And same thing for the other side, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like here. So I'm sorry I didn't see I bumped the camera there, but so here's the blacked out finish on the right side. Over here on the left side, so looks a lot cleaner than I think with the red marker there. Nice and blurry there too. All right, so on to the fins and fascia extension before it gets any blurrier here. So on to the diffuser fins and rear fascia extension here. So we got to get this template here mounted onto here, and we're going to need to pull down the rear part of the plastic here. So there's 2 bolts under here and these 3 bolts over here, and these 3 would be taken out for the fascia extension, which these 3 holes here are going to mount under here, but I'm going to take this other one out also, so that way it's easier to pull down the plastic. So all these bolts are coming out, all 4 here, and the 2 that are under here to mount the template. So 7mm for that. So before I take these 4 out and like free this side of the rear here, I'm going to mount the template and drill the holes first. So take the 2 bolts that I just took out under here and put them through the holes on the template here. And this isn't a super exact science, so things may be a little off. And I've done the other side already, so I've figured out a few tricks to help make this a little easier. And I already see here that this hole does not line up with the hole in the plastic very well. So that's great. So now, once those bolts are in, you should be able to pull the template up and this line should come across the bottom here. I'm going to get some tape to hold it up in position. And you just want to try and square it up the best you can and stretch it out. It's kind of tricky to do. Took me several tries on the other side to get it to a spot I was happy with here. Because, you know, paper doesn't curve exactly to the shape of the car super well. And one thing I'm doing that I didn't do on the other side is erring on the side of caution with it being lower than higher. So, and I'll show you on the other side that one of them ended up, I'd say like maybe 1/8 of an inch higher than I wanted it really to be. And I had some issues with getting these top screws to go in. So bring it down, I would say just a hair lower than what you think is square to be on the cautious side. And you'll be able to blend it in better. So now, yeah, I don't like the wrinkle in the plate. You want to hold it. You want it to sit like flat up against the car, I would think. So once you've got the paper up here and mounted like the top line here against the body line, you're going to take these and do kind of a test fit. And the best way I've found to do this after doing the other side is look at the top hole where the hole is on here, line it up, and try and gauge where the bottom ones are to get like a rough fit, and then look at where your top of this is relative to the body line. You want to make sure that top hole is not forcing it, like right here it seems like I'm on the body line, which I don't want to be, because that's where I get a gap. You get a gap on the back side here, and if you slide it in just a tiny bit lower, that gap goes away. So relative to where the paper is right now, I think I'm going to drill my holes on the bottom edge of the circle rather than dead center, so that I don't have this gap on the back side here. And same thing, I'm going to check over here. And this one looks good. So just this side I'm going to be cautious and drill on the bottom side of the circle to make sure I keep it below the body line. And that looks good. All right. So I get drill. And you only want to drill just through the plastic. There's stuff behind here, so be careful. Just go and you'll feel it when it gives, but it's not very thick. Then pull back out and make sure you get all the plastic off of there if there's any hanging out. All right, so all the holes are in. So I'm going to take this paper off now. And undo these bolts under here. All right, all the bolts are out. So now that all the bolts are out, you can reach up under here and actually pull down the plastic, and there's probably going to be a bunch of junk that falls out here. All right, so once you get all the dirt out of there, so you're going to have to reach up under here, pull this down. Don't worry about snapping this. You can pull this pretty hard. And get your arm up under here and put in the screws in all these holes. This one up here, I can feel there's a lot of stuff behind it. I'm not sure how do I reach in here. Holy cow. There's practically no room behind here. This is much tighter than the other side. The other side I had at least a tiny bit of space to get my hand under here, but I can feel some stuff back here, so there's hardly any room. So I'm going to keep my arm up in here. Try and line up these screws if I've drilled my holes correctly. So I slotted out this hole up here a little bit more. Make it easier to get this to mount in the proper spot. So I'm using a little Phillips head inside a 1/4 inch socket end here to get in and screw these down, because you can't do it by hand. It's way too hard. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this top one here. So this one, just warning, this top screw here, there's like no way to get to it. There's too much stuff behind it here. Like, I'm just trying to get this in here. I barely can get my hand up in there to get the screw in place. So just FYI when you're doing this, like, yeah, I mean, I cannot bend this thing down enough to even wrinkle my knuckles under here. I'm just trying to like twist it with the very end of one of my fingertips that I can get under here. This is ridiculous. So I'm not even gonna put this screw in. I can't even get my fingers up to it. It's right there, but there's no way I'd be able to screw it in. So I guess that one's just not gonna exist. I'm really not liking these, the install process here the more I go along. Yeah, I can barely get my hand to it, and there's something right behind it that's metal that's right in the way. So you would never be able to screw this at all. So we're just gonna go with these two. Tighten them down. All right, so that's done. Okay, so now on to the fascia over here. So this should be much easier than this train wreck. So neither of these bolts up top, or screws up top here, in, because I simply can't reach them. I can't get to them as I'm pulling down as hard as I can, and I'm hearing other stuff crack. So I'm not gonna keep pushing it. I was able to get him in on the other side, but just barely. So be wary, the driver's side is much harder to do than the passenger side. And even the passenger side, the top ones were really hard to get to. So let's do the easy thing for the fascia extension here. So got the double-sided 3M adhesive I'm going to stick onto here. There we go. So just pull up a tiny little edge here. And I'm going to start putting all these bolts back in. Oh, I got to do the other bolts still for the I used for the paper. Just going to get that one started there. And once I get all three of these kind of partially in, then I'll push the adhesive tape up here. There you go, all the bolts back in, and we're done. So this is what it looks like, all finished here. I would open the garage door, but I got the AC on in here and it's nice and cool, so I don't want to let it all out to give a better shot. So I'll get another one later for this. So this is what it looks like all finished up here. Doesn't look that bad, but I think I might get some like 3M tape and help deal with this gap that exists here. As you can see there, hangs off the back a little bit. So I might put some 3M tape on that, but other than that, I think it looks really nice, and help break up the giant black blob on the rear end. And I like the fascia extensions here as well, kind of rounding out the edge with the rock guards. So overall happy that it looks nice, but this install process definitely sucked, and it was quite a pain. But anyway, thanks for watching. Support the source. Check out thesourcegarage.com.